For today's value and shading practice, you're going to need a pencil, an eraser, a pencil sharpener, and Believe You Can soup, because you need to believe that you can do this even if it is your first time doing more shading practice. I am using a 2B drawing pencil. You could use any pencil. We're going to just pick one to stick with for today. I'm going to label my paper value and shading. So we are setting our goal. And we're going to get started by creating a value scale. So we're going to draw a long rectangular box. And then we're going to use 5 vertical lines to give us 6 boxes total for this value scale. I had to make an adjustment because I wanted my boxes to be a little bit more evenly spaced, so I re-erased my lines and I'm adding now my vertical lines to give me 6 boxes total. All right, so when we're working with value, we know that value is the lightness or darkness of a color. Go ahead and apply numbers 1 through 6 above each of your box in the value scale. And we're gonna have the word light under number 1. And as we move across the value scale, we're gonna get darker in our values. So we should place dark under 6. The light will be white and the dark will be our black, essentially. We're gonna use just our pencil, no blending tools, just to get familiar with our pencil pressure and shading in this box by layering multiple times with our pencil and building up this value. You could press really, really hard right out of the gate with your pencil, but we are going to practice layering our pencil over and over again to build up a nice, even, dark value. So as you can see, we are still working on our number 6 box, our black or our darkest shade that we would have in our range of values. And I want to make sure that I'm using my pencil to naturally blend as I'm going vertically with my pencil and then horizontally with my pencil. And I want to keep doing this until I create the darkest shadow that I would have in this full range of values. Once we have our 6 really dark, we're going to move to the 5. So we're decreasing in our shades. I have started working lightly first, just so I can layer evenly, and I'm going to keep applying my pencil until it looks close to the value in the 6 box, but it should not match. It should change just ever so slightly. So we can see that the 5 right now, it's more of like a medium gray, maybe the 4 or the 3. We want to keep pushing it so that it does look a little bit closer to the 6, but it's just one step down lighter since it's the 5. It's going to be slightly lighter than the 6. And now we're going to start the 4th box and shade in lightly and build up our pencil once again. Kirk agrees. Once we have reached this 4 box and the 3, these can be quite tricky because they are in the middle tones of our ranges of gray. So I went ahead and I moved over into the 3 and then the 2 that should be super light, just to get an idea of setting up the full range from our light to our dark. I am going to go back in and add a little bit more pencil to the 3, and then that causes me to have to go back and adjust the 4 because I darkened the 3. Now the 4 needs to be more dark, have a deeper shade. And I want to re-outline my box. And I took my eraser and I erased some lines that got inside the last value, the one which is the white of the paper. It would be the highlight or the shine on an object or a surface. So we don't want anything inside that box. All right, now that we have established our value scale and we know the full range of what it looks like from the highlight or that number 1 box all the way through the medium tones and darker shades to our deepest, darkest shadow, which is our number 6, we can use this value scale in order to apply it to a drawing to make something look like it has the illusion of form. However, this is not a study with form just yet. We are going to create 3 boxes where we are going to showcase our use of value in each flat space or area that we have drawn. Our goal is to practice using our full range of value in a designated area, pushing the light through the lighter tones, the 2, the 3, the medium tones, and the darker shades of gray to have a full value scale in each section that we draw. So we're gonna need 3 boxes for our next exercise. Once you have your 3 boxes drawn, we're going to draw a diagonal line in the first box. We're going to sketch a circle in the second box, 1 larger circle, but not touching all of the edges of the square, and then a smaller circle that sits on the inside towards the top, kind of looking like an olive. Make sure you do lightly sketch these out, and you'll see why here momentarily. And then in the third box, we are going to sketch out a square and then a square rectangle on the inside as well. So starting in the top right corner of this first box, we're going to aim for that darkest dark in our value scale, so that number 6 shade. So it's gonna be the darkest spot in that triangle. And as we go out to the bottom of the triangle, we're gonna move through the values, so the darker grays to the medium grays, all the way to that number 2 value, and then leaving the last part of this triangle white, so it's the white of the paper, or it would be the highlight of our form. The areas that we are working with are flat. They will not have form. We are practicing using the full range of value so that we can get familiar with seeing value and the shifts in shade changes, so that then we can begin to recognize value in everyday objects and items around us, and then later on be able to apply these concepts when rendering objects, items, drawings to have the illusion of true form. In the next triangle, we're gonna work our way from the left bottom hand corner all the way up to the right top corner of this triangle. We're gonna start with our 6 value, the darkest shade that we have, and then move through the darker gray, medium grays to the light gray, and then the white of our paper. This also provides contrast and high contrast because we see this dark number 6 value that's sitting right underneath that light area or that number 1 highlight box where we didn't touch anything. And this also helps build the illusion later on of true form and value. It looks like we have the edge of something in this box with the diagonal, and we see a shadow underneath that ridge of like a water bottle line or a container that's shut. All right, so we're moving over to what is a circle. It could look like a sphere, but remember we are just practicing the full range of values, not rendering form in this exercise. So we are going to work our way around this top part of our circle in half of our square, and we are going to aim for our number 6 value and our number 5, working our way around this circle. I encourage you not to blend with your finger. Don't try to get a Kleenex and blend with that just yet. Use your pencil and change directions to build up a natural technique called hatching, or cross hatching if you're changing the directions, and this will give you a nice, effortless, natural way of blending. As we move to the lower half of this square, we're going to go for a 4 or a medium value, and then lighten our pencil pressure to get a medium tone of gray, so that 3 value underneath this circle. I went a little too heavy on this, so I lightened it up with an eraser. And then we're going to use our 6 value, so it builds the illusion of a shadow on this bottom of our circle, or it will naturally start looking like a sphere. And then we're going to work our way from our 6, our darkest shadow, to our 5, and then our 4 as we move up towards the smaller circle, or if you're imagining an olive, that portion there. In the small circle, we're going to use our 6 at the top half of our circle. If it were an opening, that would be where the shadow is. And then we're going to go to a 5 value, and then a 4, and ever so slightly to a 3, and then leave our circle alone. So I'm outlining the top portion of this, should be square, ended up looking like a rectangle, because I know that I'm going to make the top part of this my darkest dark. It's going to be my 6. But if you noticed, we sketched these very lightly so that we did have the opportunity to use value to create these spaces and areas that we're determining, not just hard outlining everything. When you are drawing or sketching, if you put immediate outlines in places, you can't take those spots back if you do need to create, let's say, a lighter shade of gray, so like the 2 or the 3 value, and or the highlight. It would ruin that illusion later on. So I'm building up my value. I know it's going to be the darkest 6 shade, but I still wanted to go in with even pencil pressure and layer. And then we're going to have a 5 or a dark gray, and then the 4 medium gray as we go down in our square. We're going to keep pushing that concept of high contrast. So leaving the top part of this rectangle square white, and I'm doing a hard outline of the line underneath, which would look like the top of maybe the inside of a box or room of some sort. And because it's sitting up against that white area, it gives it the high contrast look because we have our darkest value right next to our extreme highlight. Then we'll push our darker grays to medium grays as we work towards the bottom of this small square. We have our super light on top of this square area, so the bottom of this square is going to be our darkest value. So we're gonna go for our 6 shade and then work our way to our 5 and our 4 as we move up the left side of this box and the right side of our box. And feel free to pause at any time, check your work, adjust any values that you need to, and then keep working. All right, you did it. We practiced our full value scale. We applied the value scales to these areas to practice our range of pencils, and we are ready to take this knowledge and our practice and put it into one last exercise for this activity. So we're gonna draw a large rectangular area down below. And the goal of this area is also going to be not to render realistic form, not yet. You can put a shape. I'm gonna go ahead and do a heart so it'll look like this. And then we're going to create these lines to give us a fractured look. So we have all these fragments and pieces throughout the shape and throughout the background of the image. So for this area, go ahead and pick a shape that you like and sketch it in your box. I would recommend to make it larger rather than smaller. That way you have more space to get your fractured values in later on. All right, now that you're done drawing your shape, you're gonna go ahead and create lines that overlap and intersect with your shape and also one another. The lines are going to determine the new sections that will then become our value practice. So the more lines you add, the more interesting sections and areas you'll have to use later on. You get to pick where these lines go, but you do need at least 6 lines. You can do more, but you need at least 6 on your drawing. Once all of your lines are determined, you're then going to treat each area that's defined by the boundary of your pencil like a mini value scale. So in one section, I'm going to start with my darks. So I'm looking for a number 6 shade of area, the darkest dark I can get with this pencil. And then I'm going to start gradually shifting my pencil pressure so that I'm then creating a level 5 in the value scale, then a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. And that 1 is that little spot of paper that you're leaving blank. So each little area is like a mini value scale. So take your time as you're doing this. I am gonna speed this up so you can get more of an idea of how I'm dividing each little section on my paper so that it is fractured and has this opposite effect. But take your time. This is not something to be rushed. You should be focused and make sure you're looking back at your value scale, and each little area is a chance for you to practice your pencil control and recognizing dark shading to your medium tones, to your lighter tones, and getting a sense of how to apply it and how to control it, but also being able to see it. The last few tips I'm gonna give you is I know I'm right-handed, so I've been working from the left side and then I'll work my way to the right. So I apologize to those who are left-handed. Feel free to start on the side that works for you. And also, I recommend getting a piece of paper as you continue to help cover up your work and your graphite so it doesn't start to smear as you move throughout your composition. All right, artists, keep in mind this skill does take time to develop. So be kind to yourself as you're doing this and take your time, and I cannot wait to see all the shading work that you produce.